This is the Efficiency is Everything Top 8 Ways to Live on $19,000 a Year. And first recommendation I have is to have roommates. Now, this isn't always possible, so I'm not going to go into detail on this one, but you can cut your rent or your mortgage pretty much in half if you can get a roommate. And next, I want to talk about cheapest health insurance. So if you don't think you're going to be sick, definitely pick the cheapest health insurance. There's no way to go wrong on that. If you are planning on hitting your max out of pocket, you might want to get the second or third cheapest health insurance. And I say this because gold and platinum plans are a total scam. They cost more even if you plan on hitting your max out of pocket. So you always want to get one of the cheaper plans. If you want to see the actual calculation, you can go on the website. We have the calculation to figure out which health insurance plan is the best. Only other caveat to mention is if you really like your doctor, you'd want to make sure that they're in your health insurance network. Next, get used cars. So we get our used cars and I want to say we drive them into the ground, but we don't. Instead, we just keep repairing them even when they've been driven into the ground. So, we've kept our cars for over 10 years. Only thing I could think as an exception to this is safety features. You want safety features, but still, used cars are so low cost compared to getting a brand new one. So I highly recommend that. I say this as someone that works in automotive, so I could be shooting myself in the foot, but I want to give you the best information. And next we have food. So food can get expensive very quickly if you buy processed or prepared food. And I kind of just find processed foods as something that doesn't just come from a farm. It goes to a factory and people touch it a bunch of times. So that could be frozen food or even some refrigerated food that requires an extra step or two. So if you can limit yourself to, say, raw vegetables, beans, rice, cheap meats, that's going to be way cheaper than if you get some frozen TV dinner kind of thing. And another prepared food is going to fast food or restaurants. These are not cheaper than making your own food. So if you can avoid those, you're going to live very low cost. So those were heavy hitters. So if you stop watching the video now, you could live on $19,000 a year. But I want to talk about some other ways you can save money as well. They're just a little bit less effective. So vices. These are your drugs / alcohol. Alcohol is a drug. And gambling. So these are very easy ways to spend lots of money. So what I'm going to tell you to do is, if you're going to do these, do the cheapest ones. So find some alcohol that is low cost. It's not going to break your back. I'm personally a fan of 5 o'clock if I'm going to drink, maybe a really cheap beer too. I actually thought the beer called Rolling Rock was a luxury beer. So I thought it tasted good because I was told one of my buddies liked it. Turns out it's actually very cheap. So taste is really in the eye of the beholder, and maybe you can find something that works for you. And as far as a low-cost drug, caffeine just knocks it out of the park. So maybe you can swap caffeine for alcohol to save money, something to consider. And then gambling, I had a teacher tell me gambling is a tax on people who can't do math, and they're right. So stop gambling if you can, and if you can't, I have a book I highly recommend. It's called Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, I think. So I couldn't recommend that book enough. You can do everything from quit video games to quit social media, of course, quit drugs, and start new good habits like exercise. So I highly recommend that book for controlling any addictions or creating new ones. Next, I want to talk about eliminating impulse purchases and luxury items. Now, marketers are going to relentlessly drive into your head that you need some luxury product or you're not going to be in the in group or you're not going to be cool. So I have an alternative way to think about that. You're so smart and aware the marketers are trying to screw you that you didn't buy them, and you can always tell people that. So that's a way to get away from the luxury purchases. As far as impulse buys, I have one time a year that I let myself get things that I don't really need, and that's Christmas time. So I'll basically create a huge list of things I want, and when November rolls around, I'll look at that same list, and a lot of the times I actually don't need any of that stuff anymore. I don't know why I wanted it to begin with. And then I'll have a budget. Say I want to spend $100 or $200 on Christmas. I'll get whatever $200 worth of items I think are best off that list. And next, I want to talk about DIY and reusing things. So We have no problem using those like thrift shops that have used clothes. I actually really like it because I can get like a extra large shirt and tailor it to fit me. And even if I somehow mess it up, well, I'm out $2. It's not a big deal. And even doing things like car repairs are more reasonable than you'd expect. Now, if a YouTube video shows that it's a 20-minute repair, expect you to take like 1 to 3 hours on it. So, I mean, it definitely costs you time. I mean, I'm at the point in my life where I'll just pay someone. But if you can't afford to pay, if you really want to live on this $19,000 a year lifestyle, DIY fixing things, especially using things like YouTube, has been a great way for us to save money. And then last one I want to talk about is low-cost entertainment. So for the longest time, me and my wife just watched YouTube. So what is the cost of that? That's internet, maybe having a computer or a phone. So basically free. You can get library books. If you like video games, wait until there's a sale and get some game that is a heavy hitter, gets you lots of hours. So those are all low-cost ways to be entertained. The opposite side of the spectrum, you can go on vacation and go skiing somewhere. I mean, you're talking about spending thousands of dollars for, a few hours of fun. I mean, I guess it's all day, but even things like going to festivals, those are a few $100 experiences, and maybe you want those experiences, but you can imagine they add up when you do them often. So definitely low-cost entertainment is a way to save quite a bit of money. So anyway, hope you liked it, and of course, give me a comment if you like these listicles, and yeah, have a good one.